Welcome to this week's installment of Is Your Agent Working For You or Against You? And my little fireside chat series. So we're going to talk about something that I think sellers never know is happening behind their back. And here's the case. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was in Chicago at the National Association of Realtors meeting, and I had a little speaking gig out there, and I posed this question to the audience, full of really good, high-level agents, and I said, have you ever been in a position where you were trying to get your buyer client into a property, but despite calls, emails, texts, all week long trying to get your buyer in, and all of a sudden, a week later, poof, it goes under agreement, and your buyer never even had a chance to see it? What the hell is that all about? Well, I have a couple of theories here. One is, it won't surprise you to find out that often when that happens, the listing agent just coincidentally happens to sell that house by himself, and of course is now going to profit from both sides of the commission. Now, it can happen very honorably, but this might not be one of those cases. And what's happened is he or she wasn't interested in having any more competition, because if they had an active buyer, they wanted that active buyer to buy their own listing. They just feel like they'd clean up that way. It's very self-serving. Or it's accompanied showings, and they just can't get their act together to accompany the showings. They're too busy and they just can't make it work. And meanwhile, another offer comes in and they accept it. Now I have to ask you, do you think the seller knows this is going on? Would any seller in their right mind accept an offer if they knew people were desperately trying to get in and hadn't been able to get in? Now, I never ever recommend to a seller that you hold off on responding to a good offer if there might be another offer in the wings someplace. Always deal with the bird in the hand. Don't cause any anxiety to the people who are trying to make a good faith offer. Don't play with them and toy with them. It's not nice. But in a timely manner, respond. But when there are people who can't get in, the seller doesn't know that and doesn't know what kind of opportunity and when you can create more competition, you always get better terms and price. I asked the same question last week amongst a bunch of agents that we had at an event I was doing. Sure enough, all the hands went up. They knew about it. And just the other night, we did an event with attorneys. And I said, have you ever had one of your buyer clients not be able to get in? And every one of them shook their head yes in agreement. So this is way more prevalent than you like to know. There are agents in some cities that are notorious for not cooperating with other agents. And there are certainly different cultural norms within different real estate marketplaces. You get places like Melrose and Cambridge. I think they're very compliant and good. And then some of those Boston agents, and quite frankly, I've seen it in Lexington and Winchester too, don't play nice. So that's not the way we want to be. Sellers, before you hire an agent, make sure that you know what's going on behind your back and ask the questions about making sure everyone's going to get in to see your property. That is what winds up with the best price for you and the best terms. So I'm Linda Okaneski. Thanks for joining me on my little fireside chat of Is Your Agent Working For You or Against You? Thanks.